Good evening, friends. Am I audible? Am I audible, pa? Fine. So we are discussing company accounts. Today we'll proceed further with company accounts. So far, what and all we discussed in company accounts, one quick summary. So we are discussing in company accounts. Totally, we have two discussion. First discussion about issue of shares. That is first discussion about share capital. Second discussion is about debenture. We have yet to start about debenture. So what do you mean by capital? Capital is nothing but the amount contributed by the owner. Capital is nothing. Capital is nothing but the amount contributed by the owner. Mute. Now am I audible? Okay, fine. Capital is nothing but the amount contributed by the owner. Owner contributed some amount, that is called as capital. Total capital of the company, we call it as share capital. And this total capital is divided into equal part, that is called as share. Various types of share capital we have. The maximum first type of capital, maximum capital, we call it as authorized capital, which is mentioned in MOA. அதில் ஒரு part is issued capital. Issued capital one part is subscribed capital. Subscribed capital one part is called up capital. Called up capital one part is paid up capital. What is paid up capital? Called up capital minus calls in arrears will give you paid up capital. And also we discussed about this topic. In this topic is issue of shares. In when you issue shares, we have two classification. One is issue of shares for cash, another one is issue of shares for consideration other than cash. For issue of shares for cash, again it is classified into two. One is lump sum, another one is installment. And for consideration other than cash, either shares can be issued for purchase of asset or it can be issued to promoters. When shares are issued in lump sum, what is the journal entry? Bank account debit to share capital. When it is issued in installment, we have three installment. What are the three installment? Application, allotment, and call. And when shares are issued for purchase of asset, two entry. First entry, asset account debit to vendor. Second entry, vendor account debit to share capital. When shares are issued to promoters, entry goodwill account debit to promoters. And next entry, it is a promoters account debit to share capital. And when shares are issued in installment, we have three installment: application, allotment, and call. In this, we also discussed about minimum application money. What is the minimum application money? It is how much the minimum application money. As per SEBI Companies Act, it is 5% of face value. As per SEBI guidance, it is 25% of issue price. What is issue price? Three types of issue. What are the three types of issue? Issued at discount, and issued at par, and issued at premium. What do you mean by issued at discount? Issue prices less than issue prices less than face value, we call it as discount. What do you mean by issued at par? Issue price is equal to face value, we call it as issued at par. What do you mean by issued at premium? Issue price is more than face value, we call it as issued at premium. But shares cannot be issued at discount unless it is sweat equity shares. Either shares can be issued at par or it can be issued at premium. Also, we discussed about subscription. What are the types of subscription? We have three types of subscription. What are the three types of subscription? First one we call it as under subscription. Second one it is full subscription. Third one it is over subscription. When it is under subscription, I issued for 10,000 share, public subscribed for 9,000 share, that is called as under subscription. What do you mean by full subscription? Issued 10,000, subscribed also 10,000, and then it is called as full subscription. What do you mean by over subscription? Issued 10,000 shares, subscribed it is 12,000 shares, that is called as over subscription. Then we also discussed about what is the meaning of calls in arrears and calls in advance. Meaning of calls in arrears: installment due but it is not received, that is called as calls in arrear. What do you mean by calls in advance? Installment received but it is not due agala but it is received, that is called as calls in advance. Calls in arrear meaning installment due but it is not received. Calls in advance means it is received but it is not due, that is called as calls in advance. Also we discussed about basic journal entry. What are the journal entry we discussed? Journal entry we discussed for issue of shares. Issue of shares we discussed journal entry. What are the journal entries we discussed? First, total I told you three stages. First stage we call it as application. Second stage we call it as allotment. Third stage we call it as call. Application we have totally the following entry. First entry we call it as receipt entry. What is the receipt entry? Bank account debit to share application. Then share application should be transferred to share capital. Entry: share application account debit to share capital. In case of rejection, first entry will be reversed. What is the entry? Share application account debit to bank. Then share allotment order due entry. What is the due entry? Share allotment account debit to share capital. And receipt entry: bank account debit to share allotment. Share call order due entry: share call account debit to share capital. Receipt entry: bank account debit to share call account. These are the entries we learned, basic entries அப்படின்னு சொன்னோம். Also we discussed about minimum subscription. How much to be subscribed? Minimum 90 percentage of the issue to be subscribed. If 90 percentage is not subscribed, whatever money we collected, such money should be refunded. Okay, then also we discussed about over subscription. What do you mean by over subscription? I issued for 10,000 share but public subscribed for 14,000 share. Extra I have 4,000 share. What are the options available to me? Either I can reject this full shares and I can make a full allotment, or I can make a proportionate allotment. Proportionate allotment is called as pro rata allotment. What is the journal entry for full rejection? Rejection on the entry, it is share application account debit, share application account debit to bank. What is the entry for full allotment? Share application account debit to share capital. What is the entry for proportionate allotment? Share application pro rata allotment, share application account debit to share allotment. Whatever excess money you paid in application stage, such money is adjusted towards allotment, that is called as pro rata allotment. Also we discussed about journal entries relating to forfeiture of shares. What do you mean by forfeiture of share? What is the meaning of forfeiture of share? Meaning of forfeiture of share: it means cancellation of share for non-payment of any installment. Any installment you have not paid. Total are three types of installment we have: application, allotment and call. Application you paid, default everyone will definitely pay application. Either you would have not paid allotment or you would have not paid call. Because of this, your shares may be forfeited by the company. What is the entry for forfeiture of shares? What is the journal entry for forfeiture of shares? Two classification. One is securities premium received, another one is securities premium not received. If securities premium is received, journal entry: share capital account debit to unpaid calls, share capital account debit to unpaid calls to forfeited shares. If securities premium is not received, entry share capital account debit and securities premium account debit, two unpaid calls and two forfeited shares. That's all. So these are the journal entry we have for forfeiture of shares. Also, we discussed about entry for reissue. What is the entry for reissue? Reissue can be of three types. Reissued can be at discount, or reissued at par, or reissued at premium. Reissued at discount, bank account debit, forfeited shares account debit to share capital. If it is reissued at par, entry bank account debit to share capital. If it is at premium, entry bank account debit to share capital to securities premium. At the time of forfeiture, you have some gain. At the time of reissue, you have some loss. Gain minus loss. Net amount should be transferred to capital reserve. Entry for transferring to capital reserve. Forfeited shares account debit to capital reserve. So these are the basic journal entries we have relating to this issue of shares. Issue of shares related, we have this following journal entry. This is what we discussed so far. Also, we completed up to question number எது வரைக்கும் கம்ப்ளீட் பண்ணிட்டோம்? Last we did question number 134. Question number 134 we completed, and also we have some few more questions which we have not discussed earlier. Today we will be discussing those questions mainly towards this MCQ type of question. One question is asked for 6 mark. Okay, same type of question repeated again and again. We can have a discussion about that. First one, first அந்த மிஸ் பண்ண நம்ம few questions we ignored la. First we will take up those questions and then we will proceed further. First one, question number 131, comprehensive question la. First question, read the first question. PL Limited registered with the authorized capital of rupees 10 lakh divided into 1 lakh shares of rupees 100 each. Authorized capital is 10 lakh. It is divided into 1 lakh shares of rupees 10 each. The company offered to the public 90,000 equity share. Company issued how many shares to the public? 90,000 shares. Issued is only 90,000. Applications received for 82,000 equity share, meaning the public subscribed for how many shares? Means only public subscribed for 82,000 share. Public issued, we issued 90,000, but public subscribed for 82,000. This type of subscription we call it as under subscription. Okay, we issued 90,000, but public subscribed for 82,000. Such subscription we call it as under subscription. Equity shares and allotted. Okay, all the money due was received with the exception that first and final call of 2 per share on 2000 shares. Okay, with the exception that on 2000 share what is not received, means final call is 2 per share is not received. Okay, and his shares were forfeited. Very important, his shares were forfeited. So go through the information in the question. Only few things are there. First, go through the informations in the question. So to consolidate, what are the things which is given in the question? Totally issued how many shares? Company issued how many shares? 90,000 share. but public subscribed for only how many share? 82,000 share. All the money was duly received with the exception that first and final call of 2 per share is not received. And how many shares are forfeited? 2000 shares are forfeited. Okay, now what is the first question? What is the amount of calls in arrears disclosed in notes to accounts? What is the amount of calls in arrear disclosed in notes to accounts? What is the amount of calls in arrear disclosed in notes to accounts? Please try. What is the answer? Chatla solunga. This is what happen normally. What students will tell many times, students will think it is how many shares are on which amount is not received. 2000 share. What is the price? 2 per share. But what happened? These shares are these shares are forfeited. These shares are what? Forfeited. Listen friends, first when shares which amount is not received, now final call is not received. What is the due entry for final call? Share final call account debit, share final call account debit to share capital. இப்படி தான் first entry pass பண்ணுவோம். How many ஷேருக்கு? 90,000 we issued. ஆனால் public subscribed for 82 தான். அப்போ 82,000 into 2 அப்படின்னு என்ட்ரி பாஸ் பண்ணும். 82,000 into 2 1,64,000. We will pass entry for 1,64,000. Next entry. What is the next entry? Bank account debit calls in arrears account debit. Bank account debit calls in arrears account debit to share final call. Bank account debit calls in arrears account debit to share final call. Bank account debit, all the money is received except a person is holding how many share? 2000 share. On this 2000 share, money is not received. But 2000 into 2, 2000 into 2 will give you 4000. On this 4000, money is not received. How much is received? Total we are supposed to receive 1,64,000. In this 2000 shares money is not received, 4000 is not received. How much is received? 1,60,000 is received. What students will think? Calls in arrears is how much amount? 4,000 அப்படின்னு think பண்ணுவாங்க. ஓகேவா? Calls in arrears 4,000 தான், no doubt. ஆனா question கரெக்டா படிங்க. What is the calls in arrear disclosed in notes to accounts? What is the calls in arrear disclosed in what? Notes to accounts. Notes to accounts what is the amount to be mentioned? This is what they are asking. ஏன் இதை ரொம்ப ஸ்ட்ரெஸ் பண்றேன் அப்படின்னு பாத்தீங்கன்னா, now the shares are dash. His shares were, what happened to his shares? His shares were forfeited. Yesterday I told you journal entry for forfeiture of share. Can you tell me what is the entry for forfeiture of share? Share capital account debit to unpaid calls. Unpaid calls is also called as calls in arrear. Unpaid calls is also called as what? Calls in arrear. To what? To forfeited shares. Calls share capital account debit, calls in arrears to calls in arrears to forfeited shares. இப்ப கவனிங்க ரொம்ப கேர்ஃபுல்லா. How many shares forfeited? 2000 shares. Share capital should be debited with called up value. Share capital should be debited with what value? Called up value. In this question, the shares are fully called up because final call 2 rupees only not paid. Up 2000 into 10 will give you 20,000. And 2 calls in arrear. 2000 into 2. 2000 into 2 will give you 4,000. 2 forfeited share. 2000 into 8. 2000 into 8 will give you 16,000. இங்கதான் முக்கியமான விஷயத்தை நீ புரிஞ்சுக்கணும். Listen friends. In the very first entry, when we pass the first entry, calls in arrears is debited. In this first entry, calls in arrears account is debited. In this first entry, calls in arrears account is debited. In the first entry, calls in arrears debit ஆயிருக்கு. In the subsequent entry, calls in arrears account is credited. First entry la calls in arrears is debited. In subsequent entry la calls in arrears is credited. When calls in arrears is debited and credited, then calls in arrears account will tally. When calls in arrears account is debited and credited, debit credit calls in arrears account will tally. When calls in arrears is tallied, this will not come in notes to accounts. What is the amount to be reported in notes to accounts? Answer is 0, not 4,000. Amount of calls in arrears is not 4,000, it is 0, because in the first entry calls in arrears is debited, in the second entry calls in arrears is credited. Debit credit calls in arrears ledger will tally. So in notes to accounts which amount will come na? No amount of calls in arrears will come in notes to accounts, because the shares are what? என்னாச்சு shares are forfeited. The shares are what? Forfeited. Shares forfeit பண்ணிட்டோம். In case shares forfeit பண்ணலன்னு வச்சுக்கோயேன், suppose shares are not forfeited, அப்போ what is your answer for calls in arrears? அப்போ your answer is 4,000. If shares are forfeited, அப்போ what is your answer? Answer is nil. Be careful. Be careful. Here you will commit mistake. இங்க shares are forfeited என்ற word இருக்கு. அப்ப shares are forfeited இருந்தா இந்த question ஓட answer nil. When shares are not forfeited னு கொடுத்திருந்ததுனா, இல்ல shares forfeit பத்தி information இல்ல, no information about shares forfeiture, then your answer is 4,000. So be careful. So that is the answer for the first question. Now proceeding to the next question. Number of shares P Limited will have after forfeiture of share. Number of shares which P Limited will have after forfeiture of share. Totally we have 82,000 share. If you remember, company issued 90,000 share, but public subscribed only for how many share na? 82,000 share. If in this 82,000 share, how many shares are cancelled by the company? How many shares are forfeited by the company for non-payment of shares, non-payment of installment? How many shares are forfeited na? It is 2,000 shares are forfeited. 82,000 minus 2,000, how many number of shares now company will have na? 80,000 shares only company is having. Company is having only how many shares na? 80,000 shares. Next one. In the notes to accounts, amount to be disclosed under share forfeiture account. Share forfeiture account la how much is the amount to be disclosed? Can you tell what is the answer for third one? What is the amount to be disclosed in share forfeiture? Because நான் journal entryலயே சொல்லிட்டேன், ஆல்ரெடி journal entryயை டிஸ்கஸ் பண்ணியிருக்கேன். ஸோ journal entryலயே பாருங்க, forfeiture entry share capital account debit, 2 calls in arrear, 2 forfeited shares. அப்போ forfeited shares is credited with 16,000. So answer for this question is option A, 16,000. Next one. What is the in the notes to accounts amount disclosed under issued capital will be? In the notes to accounts, amount to be disclosed under what? Issued capital. Issued capital, what is the amount will be disclosed? We will do full-fledged question. In full-fledged question, balance sheet we will do. In balance sheet, we have only this one part. That is, only they will ask a share capital part. That we will be doing. In that, we will be understanding what is the amount of issued capital. Can you tell me how much is the amount of issued capital in this question? Company issued how many shares? Question parang. How many shares are issued? Public offered for subscription how many share? 90,000 share. 90,000 share into 10. 90,000 share into what? 10. 90,000 into 10 will give you 9 lakhs. Next one. Balance in share forfeiture account, which will be shown in notes to accounts. Notes to accounts la in the balance in forfeited shares இருக்குல்ல, where it will be shown na? Actually it will be shown in notes to accounts. Balance in share forfeiture, where it will be shown? It will be shown in notes to accounts. Under which head அப்படின்னு பார்த்தீங்கன்னா, not under authorized capital, not under issued capital. Third category, it will be issued disclosed under which place na subscribe capital. It will be disclosed under which place na subscribe capital. Okay, balance in forfeiture will be shown in along with what na subscribe capital. Next one, what is the amount of share capital to be disclosed in balance sheet? Balance sheet la final answer varudilla, and the final balance sheet oda total, what is the amount which will be shown in balance sheet? Total we have how many shares அப்படினு பாருங்க. Total we have 82,000. அதுல 2,000 shares are forfeited. அப்ப remaining how many shares we have na 80,000 shares we have. அப்ப அந்த 80,000 sharesக்கு we paid how much amount na? We paid 10 rupees. அப்ப tell me 80,000 into 10 will give you 8 lakh. 80,000 into 10 will give you 8 lakh. With this amount of 8 lakh, what should be added na? Forfeited shares account should be added. How much will be the balance in forfeited shares? How many shares are forfeited by the company? 2,000 shares are forfeited by the company. For this 2,000 share, how much is the amount paid by the shareholder? 8 rupees is the amount paid by the shareholder. Appa 2000 into 8 will give you 16,000. Appa total amount to be shown in balance sheet is 8 lakh plus 16,000. 8 lakh and 16,000 is the answer. 8 lakh and 16,000 is the answer. புரிஞ்சுதா? So I will repeat again. First part மட்டும்தான் இதுல mistake பண்ணியிருப்பீங்க. Calls in arrear amount 4,000 தான். ஆனா what is the amount to be shown in notes to accounts na? It is not 4,000, it is nil because shares are forfeited. Number of shares forfeited of P Limited after forfeiture will be total 82,000 la 2,000 we ignored, 2,000 we cancelled, so remaining is 80,000. What is the amount to be shown under forfeited shares? Forfeited share order balance will be 16,000. This amount will be added with what capital na? This amount will be added with subscribe. This amount share forfeited will be balance in forfeiture will be shown in which place of notes to accounts means subscribe capital. 80,000 into 10 is the total share, and forfeited shares how much is the balance? 2,000 into 8 will give you 16,000. So that is about question number 131. Now proceeding to question number 132. Similar question தான், சீக்கிரமா ஆன்சர் பண்ணிடலாம். Question number 132. LK Limited is registered with authorized capital of 15 lakh rupees. Rupees 15 lakh. And it is divided into 1,50,000 shares of rupees 10 each. Company offered to public, this is important. For company offered to public, it is 1,45,000 equity shares. 1,45,000 equity shares were offered to the public. But public the response received is only for 1,40,000 equity shares. All money due was received with the exception that first and final call on 1 per share on 4,000 shares were allotted to N. And the shares were forfeited. This is very, very important. The shares were what? Forfeited. Now, what is the answer? First two question டக்கு answer பண்ணிருங்க. What is the first question? The amount of calls in arrear disclosed in notes to account. Notes to account what is the amount of calls in arrear? Actually it is 4,000 into 1, but the shares are forfeited. Appa amount is nil. Second question oda answer. Number of shares which LK Limited will have after forfeiture. Totally application itself received for how many shares? 1,40,000. Okay, adila how many share money is not received? 4,000 share money is not received. Up answer is what na? 1,36,000. How it is 1,36,000? 1,40,000 minus 4,000 will give you 1,36,000. Next, in the notes to accounts, what is the amount to be disclosed under share forfeiture account? Forfeiture of shares la how much amount will be disclosed? Please tell me the answer. Forfeiture of shares la how much amount will be disclosed? Please tell. What is not paid in kuduthirukam? ஒன் லேக் 44 ஷேர்ஸ் இருக்கு. அதில் 4000 ஷேர்ஸை ஃபோர்ஃபிட் பண்ணிட்டோம்ல, அப்போ 136 தானே பேலன்ஸு. ஆஃப்டர் ஃபோர்ஃபிச்சர் எவ்வளோ ஷேர் இருக்கும்னு கேட்குறாங்க. ஃபோர்ஃபிட் பண்ணுறதுக்கு நம்ம 4000 ஷேர்ஸை வி ஃபோர்ஃபிட்டட் ஃபார் நான் பேமெண்ட்டு. அப்போ ஆஃப்டர் ஃபோர்ஃபிச்சர் ஹவு மெனி ஷேர்ஸ் வில் பி தேர்? அவ்வளோதான், அதான் கொஷின். நெக்ஸ்ட் கொஷின், in the notes to accounts, what is the amount to be shown under share forfeiture account? Forfeiture of shares la how much amount will be there? This is what I want you to try. இதை ஆன்சர் பண்ணுங்க. 4000 ஷேருக்கு how much is paid na, how much is not paid na 1 rupee is not paid. அப்போ how much is paid ன்னு பாருங்க. 10 rupees ஒரு ஷேரு, ஃபைனல் கால் 1 rupee not paid ன்ட்டாங்க. அப்போ what is paid? ரொம்ப சிம்பிள். 10 rupeesல what is paid? ஓகே, 1 rupee not paid. அப்போ 9 rupees paid. அப்போ 10 rupeesல 9 rupees paid. அப்போ what is the journal entry? 4000 shares into rupees 9. 4000 into 9 rupees 36,000. 4000 into 9 will give you 36,000. Next, question number 4. In the notes to accounts, amount to be disclosed under issued capital. Amount to be disclosed under issued capital. Amount to be shown under issued capital. What is the amount to be shown under issued capital? Very simple. How many shares issued to public? 1,45,000 shares. அப்போ 1,45,000 share into 10 rupees. 1,45,000 into 10 will give you 14,50,000. That's all. Last one, same question repeated. Balance in share forfeiture, which will be shown in notes to accounts, will be dash capital, subscribe capital. What is the amount of share capital to be disclosed in balance sheet? What is the amount to be disclosed in balance sheet? They are asking. Last question மாதிரி தான், ட்ரை பண்ணுங்க. What is the amount to be shown in balance sheet? What is the amount to be shown in balance sheet? Balance sheet la what amount to be shown? Last question la we had some calculation la. In same way, in this question we should calculate. Please calculate and tell me the final answer. What is the amount to be shown in balance sheet? You should tell. Same like last question da. So how to find out this? Totally how many shares we have? 1,40,000. How many shares forfeited? 4,000 share. அப்போ டோட்டலா 1,36,000 shares we have in for 1,36,000 share into 10 rupees. 1,36,000 into 10 rupees will give you 13,60,000. And also we have 4,000 share. On this 4,000 share, how much is the money paid by the shareholder? It is 9 rupees is the money paid by the shareholder. 4,000 into 9 will give you 36,000. What is the total answer? Final answer, it is 13 lakh 96,000 is the answer. So answer is option C. Next, proceeding further. Next question. Proceeding further, next question. MK Limited registered with the authorized capital of 9 lakh rupees 9 lakh divided into 90,000 shares of rupees 10 each. The company offered to the public for subscription 80,000 equity share. Issued is 90,000. Offered for public is 90,000. Authorized capital is 90,000. Issued for public is 80,000. But public subscribed for 78,000. All the money was received with the exception that first and final call on 3 per share. On how many shares it is not received? No, on 1000 share this is not received. Received 78,000. Received 78,000. Company offered for public is 80,000. What is the amount to be shown in forfeited shares? First one, calls in arrear. Same question repeated. What is the amount of calls in arrear disclosed in notes to account? So first one ke nil. Second one, number of shares of MK Limited after forfeiture. Totally how many shares we have received? 78. Adil how many shares forfeited? 1000. Balance how many shares we have? Totally we received 78. How many shares forfeited? Don't take the shares which is offered to public. Offered to public is called as issued capital. But public it in the response receive பண்ணதே 78,000 தான். 78,000 ல 1000 should be subtracted. 78 minus 1000 it is 77,000, not 79,000. Even in last question you see. லாஸ்ட் கொஸ்டின்லயும் பாருங்க இதே தான் நம்ம பார்த்தோம். லாஸ்ட் கொஸ்டின்ல என்ன பார்த்தோம்? பப்ளிக் ரெஸ்பான்ஸ் வந்தது எவ்வளோ? 1,40,000. அதில் how many shares forfeited? 4,000. 140 minus 4 will give you 136 அப்படின்னு சொல்லி நம்ம ப்ரீவியஸ் கொஸ்டின்ல பார்த்தோம்ல, அதே தான் இங்கேயும். ஸோ ஆன்சர் இஸ் 77,000. நெக்ஸ்ட் தேர்ட் பார்ட். இன் நோட்ஸ் டு அக்கௌண்ட்ஸ் ஷேர் forfeiture account will be. Share forfeiture account how much will be? In notes to accounts, the amount to be disclosed under share forfeiture account will be how much? Forfeit பண்ணும்போது what is the balance they are asking? In a share, how much is paid and how much is not paid? 1000 share la how much is paid and how much is not paid? That information is given. So answer is 1000 share ku 3 rupees is not received. How much is received? 7 rupees received. 1000 into 7 will give you 7,000. I am telling the calculation in a faster way because third question similar question. அதனால ஃபாஸ்டா சொல்லிடுறேன். What is the amount to be shown under issued capital? What is the amount to be shown under issued capital they are asking? issued capital நம்ம issue பண்ணது என்ன? Maximum capital is called as authorized capital. அதுல ஒரு part தான் issued capital. அதுல ஒரு part issued capital. Public offer பண்ணது how many shares? It is 80,000 shares. 80,000 shares into 10 rupees. 80,000 into 10 will give you 8 lakh. 80,000 into 10 will give you 8 lakh. 80,000 into 10 will give you 8 lakh. 8 lakh is called as dash capital, issued capital. Next one. What is the balance in forfeited shares? What is the balance in forfeited shares which will be shown in notes to accounts? What is the balance in forfeited share which will be shown in notes to account? Same question. Subscribe capital. So previous one would answer 8 lakh. Next. What is the amount of share capital to be disclosed in balance sheet under MK Limited? So in MK Limited, how much is the amount to be disclosed in balance sheet? Third question. This time I want correct answer from you. So tell me what is the amount to be shown in balance sheet. Balance sheet la what amount will be shown? So total 78,000 share. அதில் 1000 ஷேர்ஸ்க்கு we have not received the money. அப்போ what is the amount on which money is received? 77,000 ஷேர்ஸ்க்கு we received the money. 77,000 into 10. 77,000 into 10, 7 lakhs and 70,000. And along with this, for how many share? For 1000 share, how much amount is received na? For 1000 share, 3 rupees is not received. Appa 7 is received. 1000 into 7 will give you 7,000. Appa final answer is 7 lakhs and 77,000. I believe this concept is clear now. So when this type of question comes, easily you can answer. 6 mark this type of question is asked. So please revise this question 2 times. Or in the video நீ 20 minutes கேட்டிருந்தா கூட போதும். நீ 3 times revise பண்ணதுக்கு அது equal. Already we completed question number 134. Okay, so we completed up to question number 134. Now proceeding further, next question number 135. Question number 135. Question number 135. Following is the extract of balance sheet of V Limited as per Schedule 3 of Part 1 of Companies Act. Okay, balance sheet is given for asset 31st March 2024 along with the notes to accounts. So balance sheet also given, notes to accounts is also given. Remember, this type of question, this type of presentation is asked many times. What is the presentation? Balance sheet la the first liability side heading will be equity and liability. Balance sheet la the liability heading it is equity and liability. Adula first one shareholders fund. In shareholders fund, first one it is share capital. Okay, in share capital will come under notes to accounts. First one equity and liability. In that shareholders fund, adula first we have share capital. See, idoda format of schedule 3 we are going to discuss in the next module. Next module we are going to discuss that. Okay, as a passing reference I will tell the maximum capital we have, that is called as what capital? Authorized capital. Authorized capital ஒரு part is what capital na? Issued capital. Issued capital ஒரு part is subscribed capital. So maximum capital first one is authorized, second one is issued, third one is subscribed. Okay, now they have given for 2 years. First year it is 31st March 2024 current year, also 31st March 2023 previous year. Previous year 31st March 2023, current year 31st March 2024. Authorized capital is given as 90 lakh and issued capital is given as 50 lakh. Subscribed capital is also given as 50 lakh. This is for which year? Previous year. Also 31st March 2024 is given. 24 oda information. Authorized capital same, no change in authorized capital. Authorized capital will not change unless it is changed in MOA. Issued capital is also 6 lakh. Issued capital is 6 lakh. Earlier issued capital is 5 lakh. Now issued capital is 6 lakh. Last year varaikum issued capital is 5 lakh. When it comes to this year, the issued capital is 6 lakh. Till last year 31st March 2023 varaikum, what is your issued capital? 5 lakh. 31st March 2024 appa, what is your issued capital? 6 lakh. It means that company had issued in the current year to the extent of 1 lakh. It means that the company has issued to the extent of how much amount? 1 lakh. Because last year we have 5 lakh and current year we have 6 lakh. Appa there is a difference of 1 lakh. Company in the current year they have issued for how much amount? Means 1 lakh. Also, if you see subscribed capital, there is a change in subscribed capital. Subscribed and fully paid. Subscribed and what? Fully paid. Totally 5 lakh shares last year. Now 5 lakh 80,000 shares fully paid. 5 lakh 80,000 share fully paid. But subscribed, but it is not fully paid. Subscribed, but it is not fully paid. To what amount subscribed, but it is not fully paid? On 20,000 share, it is not fully paid. Total on 80,000 share, it is fully paid. On 20,000 share, it is not fully paid. On 20,000 share into 10, 20,000 into 10 will give you 2 lakhs. Okay, 20,000 into 10 will give you 2 lakh. நான் இங்க 20 னு போட்டேன். இது 2 lakh பா. இது 20 கிடையாது. 2 lakh. 20,000 into 10 will give you 2 lakhs. Less calls in arrear 1 lakh and 60,000. Less calls in arrear how much? 1 lakh and 60,000. Oh, sorry. Calls in arrear 40,000. அப்ப 2 lakh minus 40,000 will give you net amount of 1 lakh 60. I will repeat. Last year we have 5 lakh. Current year we have 6 lakh. How many shares issued in the current year? 1 lakh. In this 1 lakh, 80,000 shares fully paid, 10 rupees is paid, because last year already 5 lakh paid. Now how much is paid? 80,000 share 10 rupees paid. Remaining 20,000 share how much is paid? 10 paid, 10 each. 20,000 into 10 will give you 2 lakh. In 2 lakh there is a calls in arrear. How much is calls in arrear? 40,000 is the rupees of calls in arrear. What is calls in arrear? It is 20,000 shares into 2 rupees is not paid. See, this 40,000 is rupees pa. This 20,000 is number of shares. There is amount 2 rupees of final call is not paid. Final call is not paid to the extent of 2 rupees. 20,000 into 2 will give you 40,000. That is calls in arrear. So 2 lakh minus 40,000, 1 lakh and 60,000. இதான் நம்ம previous questionல கூட கேட்டிருந்தாங்க. The amounts, what is the amount to be shown under what capital? Subscribed capital அப்படின்ற headingல தான் all these details will be shown. And finally, outer column how much amount will be given? It is 5 lakh and 59 lakhs and 60,000 will be shown. That's it. So these are the things given in the question. இப்போ first information வாங்க. What is the total face value of equity share issued during the year? What is the total face value of equity share issued during the year? Current year 23-24 la how much is the shares which is issued? ரொம்ப simple. 5 lakh shares இதுக்கு முன்னாடி இருந்ததா? Now we have 6 lakh shares. அப்ப 6 lakh shares now we have. Earlier we have 5 lakh shares. அப்ப what is the remaining number of share? It is 1 lakh share. On this 1 lakh share, what is the face value? It is rupees 10. அப்ப 1 lakh into 10 will give you rupees 10 lakh. 1 lakh into 10 will give you rupees 10 lakh. So answer for first one is option A. Second question. What is the number of shares? What is the number of shares on which called up amount is not received? ஸ்கிரீன்லயே ஆன்சர் இருக்கு. ஏன்னா நானே ஒரு இடத்துல எழுதிட்டேன் அந்த ஆன்சரை. ஓகே, நம்பர் ஆஃப் ஷேர்ஸ் ஆன் விச் கால் அமௌண்ட் இஸ் நாட் ரிசீவ்ட். கால் அமௌண்ட் இஸ் நாட் ரிசீவ்ட். கால்ஸ் இன் அரியர்ஸ்னு சொல்லிட்டாங்கல்ல. ஹவு மச் இஸ் கால்ஸ் இன் அரியர்? 40,000 rupees. ஓகேவா? அண்ட் ஒரு ஷேருக்கு ஒரு நம்பர் ஆஃப் ஷேர்ஸ் we know 20,000 share. Number of shares we know 20,000 share. 40,000 is the rupees. அப்ப 40,000 divided by 20,000 will give you 2 rupees on final call. And questionல என்ன கேக்குறாங்க? Number of shares on which amount is not received. On how many shares money is not received? On 20,000 share money is not received. So answer is 20,000. Are you following this? So any doubts in this question? Next part. Come to the third part of the question. On 1st April, we limited forfeited all the shares on which money is not received. All the shares are forfeited. Now, how many shares are forfeited? It is full 20,000 shares may forfeited. On forfeiture, share capital will be debited with. What is the journal entry for forfeiture of share? What is the journal entry? Share capital account debit. I already told you share capital should be debited with called up value. How many shares it is forfeited? 20,000 share. So 20,000 shares into 10. 20,000 shares into 10 will give you 2 lakh. அப்ப இந்த question ஓட answer is 2 lakh. சரி, forfeiture entry continue பண்ணுவோம். What is the entry for forfeiture? Share capital account debit to forfeited shares. First, two calls in arrear, share capital account debit, two calls in arrear, two unpaid calls in arrear, two forfeited share. அப்ப can you tell me what is the amount? Calls in arrear ஓட amount questionலயே கொடுத்திருக்கானே. Calls in arrears ஓட amount எவ்வளோ? 40,000. Calls in arrears ஓட amount is what? 40,000. If calls in arrears is 40,000, forfeited share it is how much na? 1,60,000. If calls in arrears is 40,000, forfeited share it is how much amount? 1,60,000. அதான் questionல கேக்குறாங்க. On forfeiture, share forfeiture account will be credited with. On forfeiture, share forfeiture account will be credited with how much amount? 1,60,000. Okay, va? So answer for this one is 1,60,000. Next question answer பண்ணுங்க. If all the forfeited shares are reissued at 8 per share, what is the amount to be transferred to capital reserve? Already forfeiture entry மேல எழுதி இருக்கனா? You write the entry for reissue. Reissue கான entry எழுதுங்க. Bank account debit, forfeited shares account debit to share capital. And also write the entry for capital reserve. What is the entry for capital reserve? Forfeited shares account debit to capital reserve. கடகடன் இந்த amount எழுதுங்க. I will drink some water and come. So what is the answer pa? Capital reserve oda answer. First forfeiture entry ora, next reissue oda entry. Bank account debit, forfeited shares account debit to share capital. Bank account debit for, what is the entry for bank account debit? How many shares are forfeited? 20,000 shares. 20,000 shares into 8. 20,000 shares into 8 will give you 1,60,000. Forfeited share 20,000 into 2. 20,000 into 2 will give you 40,000. To share capital will be 20,000 into 10 will give you 2 lakh. அப்ப forfeiture ஓட gain. Forfeiture ஓட gain 1,60,000. Forfeiture ஓட loss it is 40,000. அப்ப how much is the amount to be transferred to capital reserve? 1,20,000 is the amount to be transferred to capital reserve. Correct? So answer is 1,20,000. Next. If the forfeited shares are reissued at minimum permissible price. Yesterday we discussed about minimum reissue price. What is minimum reissue price? It is called up value minus amount of forfeiture. It is called up value minus amount of forfeiture. If the forfeited shares are reissued at minimum permissible price, the amount credited to capital reserve account will be. The amount credited to capital reserve account will be. Answer ரொம்ப easy, but still logically we will understand. First, called up value in this question it is 10. What is the amount of forfeiture? ஒரு ஷேருக்கு வந்து how much is the gain? 8 rupees is the gain. அப்போ what is the minimum reissue price? What is the minimum reissue price? Minimum reissue price is 2 rupees. Minimum reissue price is what? 2 rupees. அப்படின்னா என்ன என்ட்ரி பாஸ் பண்ணியிருப்போம்? பேங்க் அக்கௌண்ட் டெபிட், forfeited shares account debit to share capital அப்படின்னு என்ட்ரி பாஸ் பண்ணியிருப்போம். அப்ப பேங்க் அக்கௌண்ட் டெபிட் 20,000 ஷேர் into 2 rupees. 20,000 into 2 will give you 40,000. Share capital should be debited with 20,000 into, tell me 20,000 into what? 20,000 into 8. 20,000 into 8 will give you 1,60,000. அப்ப 2 share capital will be 2 lakh. அப்ப minimum reissue price is how much na? 2 rupees. What is the gain on forfeiture? Forfeiture ல இருந்த gain எவ்வளோ? 1,60,000 is the gain on forfeiture. What is the loss on reissue? Reissue ல இருந்த loss எவ்வளோ? Reissue ல இருந்த loss is 1,60,000. அப்ப gain on forfeiture is 160, loss on reissue is 160. Netta, what is the net gain? 0 is the gain. Up answer for this question is nil. Nil is the answer. Capital reserve no amount will be transferred because gain on forfeiture is 160, loss on reissue is also 160. Up net amount comes to 0. But that is the amount to be transferred to what account na? Capital reserve. That is about this question. Unique question. அதனால இதுவும் ஒரு வாட்டி ட்ரை பண்ணுங்க. எக்ஸாம் கண்டிப்பா they can ask this question. Okay. So with this we completed 135 exam questions in span of 10 days. This is our 10th day. We started our class on 11th. Okay, today is 21st. So in 10 days we completed 135 questions. Literally we are about to complete company accounts. Still we have some 5 or 6 questions only. Okay, and after today's class you will not be having class for next 2 days. Next 2 days you will not be having class. Okay, and we will be resuming our class from 23rd landi we will resume the class. Okay, fine. Just I am sharing this information. Next, read question number 136. One interesting question having very good issues on pro rata allotment and other things. So read question number 136. Read question number 136. A Limited invited application for 1 lakh equity share of rupees 10 each. The amount is payable as follows. Application 9. It is including premium of 6. On allotment 8 per share, including premium of 4. On first call and final call 3 per share. Applications were received for 1,50,000 equity shares and allotment was made as follows. Category A 90,000 shares. How much is allotted na? 70,000 shares. Category B 60,000 shares. How much is allotted na? 30,000 shares. Excess money on application was adjusted towards allotment and first and final call. First allotment it is adjusted and then adjusted with first and final call. Yes, who had applied for 1,200 share failed to pay first and final call. Yes belongs to category B. Past necessary journal entry for the above transaction in the books of A Limited. Open calls in arrears account and calls in advance account whenever necessary. So first go through this question. Question is having many information. Go through this question. Can we start solving? Once you read the entire question, start solving. This question, all excess money transfer we can use in calls in advance. Not in all excess money. The amount we have to use against first and final call இருக்குல்ல, that alone should be transferred to calls in advance. Not all the money. If you adjust something towards allotment, that is not at all calls in advance. What do you mean by calls in advance? In allotment stage, someone paid the first and final call money, that is called as calls in advance. Here the money is paid in application stage. You applied for some more share. That will not become calls in advance. Anyway, I will explain this. First, first question order information. How many shares company issued? 1 lakh shares. So issued is 1 lakh. Issued is 1 lakh shares. What is the share price? 10 rupees. At a premium of 10. Premium also 10. 10 plus 10 up. Total 20. What is the breakup of this 20? 20 order breakup. It is on application 9. On application it is 9. Meaning 6 plus 3. Sorry, 3 plus 6. Correct? Because it is mentioned that premium is 6. On allotment 8. On allotment it is 8. What is the premium? What is the premium breakup? 4 rupees. It means 4 plus 4. Okay. So 9 rupees and 8. 9 plus 8 total 17. Still we have 9 plus 9. 9 plus 9 we have 17. Still we have how much means 3 rupees. What is the balance? That balance is on first and final call. So this is the information given in the question. But public subscribed for how many shares? Issued is 1 lakh shares, but public subscribed for 1 lakh and 50,000 shares. Since public subscribed for 1 lakh 50, over subscription. In this question, pro rata allotment is there. We have two category of pro rata allotment. Okay, so public subscribed for subscribed capital is 1 lakh and 50,000 shares. Subscribed is 1 lakh and 50,000 shares. Now we will start passing journal entry. First entry, application entry. What is the entry? Bank account debit to share application. ஃபுல்லா சம் எடுத்து கூடவே சால்வ் பண்ணுங்க. அப்பதான் you will get the full grip. சும்மா அப்படியே பார்த்துட்டே இருந்தா you will not understand. First entry, bank account debit to share application. Okay, so it is how many application money is received? 1 lakh and 50 application. How much is the money received? It is 9 per share is the money received. Okay, 9 rupees per share on application. 1 lakh 50,000 application into 9 rupees will give you how much amount? 1 lakh 50,000 into 9 will give you 13 lakhs and 50,000. This is application money received. Receipt of application money. Exam narration எழுதிருங்க கண்டிப்பா. Next, application, share application transferred to share capital. What is the entry? Share application account debit to share capital. Also we have securities premium. Securities premium should not come in the receipt entry. Securities premium should come only in the transfer entry. So share application account debit to share capital, to securities premium, share capital account, share application account debit, to securities premium, share application account debit, to share capital, to securities premium. Okay, 2. Rejection is not there. To share allotment, excess money is used towards share allotment. Also, some money is used towards share call. Whatever amount which is used towards share call, that should be treated as calls in advance. That amount should be treated as calls in advance. For everything, we will write the calculation, so you will get so much of clarity. Total of 1,50,000 shares into 9 rupees. 1,50,000 into 9 will give you 13,50,000. Share capital should be credited with total issued is 1 lakh share. 1 lakh into share capital oda breakup enna? Share capital oda breakup 3 plus 6. 3 rupees is towards share capital. 6 rupees is towards securities premium. For 1 lakh shares only, you have to transfer the amount to securities premium. To share capital, it is 3 lakh. To securities premium, it is 6 lakh. To securities premium, it is 6 lakh. Entry share application account debit to share capital to securities premium. Also, we have some with this two calculation. Actually, we accounted for 1 lakh into 9. Total, we are supposed to account for 1,50,000 into 9. In this, so far we completed 1 lakh into 9. Now, excess money is adjusted towards share allotment. Since we have more than one category, we need working for this. For this number, we will take working note 1. For this number also, we will take working note number 2. Go to working note. Go to working note. Below this answer have a working note. Below this answer have working note. Working note number 1. Working note number 1. First column, column 1. First category. Column 1, it is category. Category, we have two category, A and B. Category, we have two category, A and B. First category A la, first one, it is applied for. First one category, first column, it is category. Second one, it is applied for. How many shares they applied for? Category A, tell me how many shares they applied for. Category A, how many shares they applied for? It is 90,000 and 60,000. Correcta? It is 90, 60, 70, 30. 90, 60, 70, 30. Category A applied for 90,000 and 60,000. So 90,000 plus 60,000 will give you 1,50,000. This is the number of shares applied for. But how many shares are allotted? How many shares are allotted? For 90,000, how many shares are allotted? 60,000 shares are allotted. For 60,000, for already பார்த்திருப்போம். The number 70, 30. 90, 70, 30. Okay. So allotted it is 70, 30. 70,000, also 30,000. So total how many shares applied now? 1 lakh shares applied. So first column applied for, second column allotted, third column excess application. Third column excess application. How many excess application? 90 minus 70 will give you 20. 60 minus 30 will give you 30. But total excess application, it is how much na? 50,000 application. Next column is different. Next column is different. Excess application money, excess application money. This column is in rupees. Okay, column 1 applied for, column 2 it is allotted, column 3 is equal to column 1 minus column 2. Column 3 is equal to excess application money. What is excess application money? It is excess application column 3 into rupees. What is per share oda price? ஒரு application oda price எவ்வளோ 9 rupees நினைக்கிறேன். 3 plus 6 பார்த்தோம்ல 9 rupees. அப்போ for one application how much money is paid? Excess 9 rupees is paid. அப்போ 20,000 into 9 will give you 1,80,000. 30,000 into 9 will give you 2,70,000. But remember, these two things are rupees. These two things are rupees, not number of shares கிடையாது. இப்போ டோட்டலா 1,80,000 plus 2,70,000, 1,80,000 plus 2,70,000, 4,50,000. 4,50,000 rupees excess application money over. So first column applied for, second column allotted, third column excess application, fourth column excess application money. First column applied for, second column allotted, third column excess application, fourth column excess application money. Appo how much excess application money we have? 4,50,000. Next column number 4 is equal to, இப்போ column 4 முடிஞ்சிச்சா, next column 5 is equal to, column 5 is equal to amount due on allotment. Column 5 is equal to amount due on allotment. Allotment la how much amount is due? What is column 5 is equal to? Column 5 is equal to column 2 into 8 rupees. Column 2 into rupees 8. Column 2 into rupees 8. Allotment appa how much due? Category A க்கு 70,000 shares allotted. அப்ப 70,000 into 8. What is the amount? Tell me, 70,000 into 8 will give you 5,60,000. 70,000 into 8 will give you 5,60,000. Same way, category B, it is 30,000 into 8. 30,000 into 8 will give you 2,40,000. Appa total amount allotment due, it comes to 8 lakh. This is nothing but 1 lakh into 8. The 1 lakh oda breakup தான் we have written. This is also rupees. First 3 is not rupees. First 3 is number of shares. So this first two column is given in question itself. Third column, column 3 is equal to 1 minus 2. Column 4 is equal to column 3 into rupees 9. Column 5 is equal to column 2 into rupees 8. Okay. Are you having clarity up to this? இது வரைக்கும் புரிஞ்சுதா? Now column number 6. Column number 6. What is column number 6? இது ரொம்ப ஈஸியா புரிஞ்சுக்கலாம். என்னன்னு பாருங்க. Column 6 is equal to column 4 or column 5, whichever is less. Column 6 is equal to column 4 or column 5, whichever is less. இது ரெண்டுத்துல எது கம்மியா இருக்கோ, that amount is eligible for amount adjusted towards allotment. Amount adjusted towards what? Allotment. It is column 4 or column 4 or column 5, whichever is less. Column 4 or column 5, whichever is less. அப்ப column 6 is equal to 1,80,000. Second one, 2,70,000 or 2,40,000. 2,70,000 or 2,40,000, whichever is less. 2,40,000 is less. அப்போ what is the total amount adjusted against allotment? It is, ரெண்டுத்தையும் add பண்ணுங்க, you will be getting 1,80,000 plus 2,40,000. You will be getting 4,20,000. Total 6 columns we have written. I will repeat what are the 6 columns. Book பார்க்காம repeat பண்ண try பண்ணுங்க. First column, it is applied for. Second column, allotted. Third column, excess application. Fourth column, excess application money. Fifth column, amount due on allotment. Sixth column, amount adjusted. What is sixth column? It is fourth column or fifth column, whichever is less. இதோட லாஜிக் என்னன்னு சொல்றேன். இப்ப லாஜிக் சொல்றேன். see, நான் எக்ஸ்ட்ராவா பே பண்ண அமௌண்ட் 1,80,000. அலாட்மெண்ட்டுக்கு கொடுக்க வேண்டியது 5,60,000. எக்ஸ்ட்ரா ஐ பெய்டு 1,80,000. டு அலாட்மெண்ட் ஐ am supposed to pay 5,60,000. அப்ப this 1,80,000 will be adjusted against 5,60,000. That is the amount this 1,80,000 is representing. Second category அப்படி இல்ல. I have paid excess of 270. Whereas my allotment due itself only 240. I cannot adjust entire 270 with 240. I can adjust only 240 with 270. அப்ப I cannot adjust this 270. I can adjust only 240. அதான் whichever is less ன்னு சொன்னேன். ஓகேவா? இது புரிஞ்சிச்சனாலே மத்த காலம் ரொம்ப ஈஸி தான். ஓகே, அப்ப what is column 7 is equal to? Column 7 is equal to column 4 minus column 6. Column 4 minus column 6. This is the amount of calls in advance. This is the amount of what? Calls in advance. அப்ப column 4 எவ்வளோ? 1,80,000. Column 6 is also 1,80,000. 180 minus 180 will give you 0. 270 minus 240 will give you 30,000. Will give you 30,000. அப்ப total amount adjusted against total amount of calls in advance is only 30,000. அப்ப இந்த இதை வச்சுதான் இந்த சம்மே சால்வ் பண்ணணும். ஸோ இந்த சம்மை சால்வ் பண்றதுக்கு ஒர்க்கிங் நோட் 1 படி calls in advance ஓட amount 30,000. amount adjusted against allotment is 4,20,000. ஒரு வாட்டி கிராஸ் செக் பண்ணுங்க, இதை டோட்டல் பண்ணுங்க. 3 lakh plus 6 lakh will give you 9 lakh. 4,50,000 plus 30,000 will give you 4 lakh. 20 plus 30 will give you 4,50,000. அப்ப 4,50,000 plus 9 lakhs will give you 13 lakhs and 50. அந்த டோட்டல் மேட்ச் ஆயிடுச்சு. ஃபர்ஸ்ட் என்ட்ரியோட டோட்டல் இஸ் மேட்ச்டு. Once this entry is completed, other entries you will not commit mistake. இந்த ஒரு என்ட்ரி மட்டும் தான் இம்பார்ட்டன்ட். அதுக்கு we need to refer working note 1. Working note 1ல this amount, all these things will be there. இப்போ we will proceed further to the next one. What is the second entry we have? What is the second entry we have? What is the second entry? Application over. Okay, அடுத்து allotment. What is the entry? Share allotment account debit. Share allotment account debit to share capital. Share allotment account debit to share capital. Share allotment account debit to share capital for how many share? Now 1 lakh share at rupees 8 rupees, including premium 8 rupees. To share capital is 1 lakh into 4. To securities premium it is 1 lakh into 4. To securities premium it is 1 lakh into 4. அப்ப 1 lakh into 4 will give you 4 lakh. And again 1 lakh into 4 will give you 4 lakh. அப்ப 2 securities premium it is 8. Total 8 lakh. Allotment it is 8 lakh. Out of this 8 lakh, 4 lakh 20 is received already. அப்ப what is the receipt entry? Bank account debit to share allotment. Bank account debit to share allotment. How much is the amount? Total we are supposed to receive 8 lakh. ஆனா application how much is received? 4,20,000 is received in application. அப்ப this amount will not be received again. அப்ப 8 lakh minus 4,20,000 will give you 3,80,000. This is the amount which is received on allotment. 3,80,000. This is the amount which is received on allotment. Allotment la only this amount is received. I will repeat again. 8 lakh is the total amount. Already we received 4 lakh 20. That 4 lakh 20 is adjusted up. How much amount is received? Na? 3 lakhs and 80,000 is received. So application over, allotment over. Next call. Calls entry, be careful because here we have two things. Calls in arrears, also calls in advance. First, calls la enna entry? How many shares and பார்த்துப்போம். Excess application money on adjustment towards allotment and first and final call. Yes, a person who is holding how many share? 1200 share failed to pay. He applied for 1200 share. He applied for 1200 share. Allotted with 1200 share illa. Applied for 1200 share. And he belongs to which category? Category B. Here comes the problem. Here comes the problem. So how to solve this? This is very simple. First write the entry. What is the entry? For receipt, bank account debit. Bank account debit. First entry la calls in advance is credited. First entry la calls in advance is credited. Now we are going to use the calls in advance. Now calls in advance will be debited. Now calls in advance will be debited. Also we have calls in arrear. Also we have what? Calls in arrear. Calls in advance மட்டும் இல்ல. Also we have calls in arrears. அதுவும் debit ஆகும். Now 2 calls in bank account debit, calls in advance account debit, calls in arrears account debit to share due entry எழுதலப்பா. எழுதியிருக்கணும். அடி due entry எழுதியிருக்கணும். அதான் just wait. First due entry எழுதிடலாம். Yes, share first and final call account debit. Share first and final call account debit to share capital. Share first and final call account debit to share capital. 1 lakh share into 3 rupees. 1 lakh into 3 will give you 3 lakhs. In the receipt entry, அந்த entry எழுதுங்க. Bank account debit. Bank account debit. Also bank account debit. Also calls in advance account debit. Calls in advance account debit. Calls in arrears account debit to share first and final call. To share first and final call. To share first and final call. We are supposed to receive 1 lakh shares on this 3 rupees. How much is totally to be received? 3 lakhs to be received. Ana already we received how much amount calls in advance? How much amount calls in advance we have? 30,000. That 30,000 will not be received now. That 30,000 will not be received. Advance will be adjusted. 3 lakh minus advance will be adjusted. Advance is 30,000. Now we need to find out calls in arrears. For this we will have one working note. Working note number 2. Working note number 2. Working note number 2 we have for finding the amount of calls in arrears. Working note number 2 we have for finding the amount of calls in arrears. Working note number 2, amount of calls in arrears. Amount of calls in arrear. How to find out this amount? Be careful. It is a unique sum. Already exam la once tested. Earlier also this type of question tested. So having high chance of coming again in examination. Okay. So amount of calls in arrear. How to find out this? First, person name anna yes. S applied for, S applied for 1200 shares. He belongs to category B. He belongs to category B. Second category la irkaru. Second category la what is the pro rata ratio if you apply for second category la applied for and allotted? Category B la applied for 60,000 இருந்தா how many shares will be allotted na 30,000 shares will be allotted. S applied for 1200 share. அப்ப how many shares will be allotted to him? 600 shares will be allotted to him. Ratio 2:1 pa. அப்ப what is the amount it will be allotted na 600 shares will be allotted. ஆனா S paid application money. S paid application money on how many share na 1200 share. S paid application money on how many share? 1200 share. 1200 share ki paid how much rupees na 9 rupees. 1200 into 9 rupees. Tell me what is the amount? 1200 into 9 will give you 10,800 rupees he has paid. But less amount of shares allotted to amount he has to pay on application. Amount he has to pay on application. Only how many share na 600 share. 600 into 9. 600 into 9 will give you 5,400. So if you subtract this, you will be getting excess application money paid, excess application money paid on application. Excess application money paid on application. It is 5,400 less amount he has to pay on allotment. Amount he has to pay on what? Allotment. Allotment how many share he has to pay? 600 shares into 8 rupees. 600 into 8. 600 into 8 will give you 4,800. Excess money adjusted towards first and final call. Excess money adjusted towards first and final call. It is 1,400. Excess money adjusted towards first and final call. It is how much amount? 1,200. So 1,200 is the excess money adjusted towards first and final call. Amount to be paid by S on first and final call. Amount to be paid by S on first and final call. Amount to be paid by S on first and final call. It is 600 shares into 3 rupees. 600 into 3 rupees will give you 1,800. சரிப்பா இது 400 தான். 5,400 minus 4,800 is 600 தான். 600 rupees. Okay. Amount to be paid by S on first and final call 600 into 3 rupees 1,800 less excess money adjusted towards first and final call. Excess money adjusted towards first and final call is 600 rupees 600. Amount not paid by S. S எவ்வளவு பணம் பே பண்ணலனா rupees 1200 S not paid. Calculations are very important. ஒரு நம்பருமே important. இந்த calculationோட அந்த நம்பரை எழுதினாலே கிளியரா புரிஞ்சிரும் எப்படி இது வந்தது அப்படின்னு சொல்லி. He paid application money on 1200 share, but he has been allotted only 600 share. அப்ப application allotment first call, all he has to pay for how many share means 600 share. I will tell you one simple logic part to understand this number. 1200 என்னன்றத சிம்பிளா சொல்றேன். S belongs to which category பா? Category A வா category B ஆ? Category B. What is category B? If you apply for 60,000 share, you will be getting how many share na? If you apply for 60,000 share, you will be getting how many share? 30,000 share. Mr. S applied for how many share na? 1200 share. Appa he will be allotted how many share na? He will be allotted 600 share. Correct ah? Application money he will pay on how many share na? 1200 shares. 1200 share ki he will pay how much rupees na? 9 rupees. Appa tell me 1200 into 9. 1200 into 9 he will pay 10,800. Correct ah? Ana he applied for 1200, but company has allotted him only 600 share. On this 600 share, he has to pay first application. Application he has to pay 9 rupees. Also he has to pay allotment. Tell me allotment he has to pay how much? 8 rupees. Also he has to pay first and final call. How much he has to pay on first and final call? 4 rupees. 8 plus 9, 3 rupees. Sorry. 3 rupees. Appa 8 plus 9, 17. 17 plus 3, 20 rupees. So total 20 rupees. 600 share ki he has to pay 20 rupees. Appa tell me 600 into 20. 600 into 20 he has to pay. He has to pay how much amount? 12,000 rupees he has to pay. Ana in application stage itself he paid how much amount? 10,800 he paid. Appa what is the amount he has to pay on first and final call? 1,200 he has to pay on first and final call. This amount is not paid by S. That amount and the 1,200 இருக்குல்ல working note 2, that should be transferred to calls in arrear. That amount should be transferred to what account? Calls in arrears. 3 lakh minus 30,000 minus calls in arrears oda amount. What is the amount of calls in arrear? 1,200. Working note number 2, 1,200. This is also not received. This is also not received. What is received? Tell me what is received. 3 lakh minus 3 lakh minus 30,000 minus 1,200. 2 lakh 68,800 is received by them. 2 lakh 68,800 is received by them. Okay va? So very good question because it contains good adjustment. 2 lakh 68,800. Okay, whether the shares are forfeited, read the last line of the question. Forfeited கொடுத்திருக்கானா பாருங்க. Forfeited கொடுத்திருந்தா ஒண்ணும் இல்ல, ஈஸி தான். Questionல வேற என்ன இருக்கு? Past fail to pay first call, அவ்வளவுதான். shares forfeit பண்ணல, அவ்வளவுதான் இதோட ஆன்சர். So 6 மார்க்குக்கு worth தான், because it is having 2 working note, also it is having some good calculation, so this is sufficient. புரிஞ்சுதா? Okay, so that's all. That is about this question. So with this we completed question number 136. The question ஒரு 2 times அது minimum try பண்ணுங்க. Very important question. Pro rata tested. This is the maximum thing in this pro rata. If you understand this, pro rata will be very easy for you. Okay, next. This question yesterday we solved. அதோட similar question தான். Okay, previous classல forfeiture வச்சு solve பண்ணோம்ல அந்த கொஸ்டினோட இதுதான். Read this question. Pass necessary journal entry. 600 shares are forfeited, 10 each at a premium of 3 per share for non-payment of allotment 7, including first and final call. Final call is not yet made. So previous class we discussed. Also these shares are reissued at 13 fully paid up. Premium reissued. And again one more forfeiture we have. 1000 shares are forfeited, 800 shares are reissued at 7, discount reissued, 8 paid up. Okay, so in the question மட்டும் homework try பண்ணுங்க. Now this is same like the previous class question what we did. Answer இங்கே discuss பண்ணுவோம். Okay, இது homework try பண்ணுங்க. Answer discuss பண்ணிட்டு நம்ம next class ஓட question start பண்ணுவோம். ஏன்னா இப்போ அடுத்த question start பண்ணா it will take time. Cannot complete that question now. So with this I will stop for today. Next 2 days you are not having class. So next class will be on 24th. 24th you will be having a next class. Okay va? So comfortably we will complete. If required on Sundays I will extend 1 or 2 hours. That is sufficient. So we are on track. We can complete it on next 2 days ku matta class illa 24th ku next we will start. Okay, bye bye pa, next class pa.